Good morning, my friends. This is an instructional video, and this is about how to send an email to Heidi, okay? So you see here that this is coursework for Monday, so instructions in email. So what we have to do is first, you have to go into your Norquest email. So you see at the top, I have the different tabs. So first, click on the tab for Norquest website. Next, log in. And as your student, you would log into My Mail. Okay. So I am already logged into my Gmail. So here we go. This is my Gmail, and yours for My Mail will look the same. So next, what we want to do is we want to compose an email. So we click on compose. So it's here on the left-hand side. And what we want to do is we want to create a new message to Heidi. Okay, so remember my email message is heidi.schlack@norquest.ca. Okay, so that's the first thing that we do for the message. After that, we need a subject. Okay, and so the subject of your email is you're going to tell me some advice that you've learned about webinars. So good advice. Okay, so good advice about online webinars. Okay. All right. Now, remember I have said that in Link, we have kind of an informal relationship between instructors and students. So what you're going to do for your greeting is you're just going to say, hey, hi, Heidi, and then a comma. Okay. And typically with an informal email, we will say, how are you? Okay. Hope you are well. Okay. And then what we do is then we talk about the purpose. So the reason that I'm writing to Heidi is because I want to tell her some advice that I've learned about online webinars. Okay. So you might try this. Okay. So you might say, I am writing to tell you some advice about some good advice about online webinars. Okay. Now, what we want to do is we're like, what is some online webinar advice? So what you can do is in Monday slides, so I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to look at some of the advice we've been talking about over the last 7 weeks. All right, so here we go. So good habits, right? So there's quite a few good habits, and these are pieces of advice. So I think what I'll do is I'll give 2. Okay, so I think I'll do that. Have a quiet space and a positive mindset. Okay, so those are the 2 pieces of advice that I'm going to send to Heidi. Okay, and so remember instructions here. So you need to send me exactly the same kind of email here. So I'm giving you an example. Okay, so we want you to be able to follow these instructions. So you have to give advice and 2 pieces, not 3, not 4, not 5. Okay, so 2 pieces of advice. Okay, so as I've said here, how are you? I hope you are well. I'm writing to tell you some good advice about online webinars. First, you should always have a quiet space to learn during webinar time. Okay. It is important because you can focus on what the teacher is saying. And okay, there, we'll just stop there. All right, so that's my first piece of advice. And notice what I did was I used the modal should. Okay, all right, should. So remember the lesson that you have just before you do this activity. Let's go back right here, is about modals, right? So we want you to use modals of advice. Okay, so I use should. okay? And now I think what I'll do is I'll use ought to, okay? So that's another modal of advice, okay? So I'll go back and I'll use my transition word. Second, you ought to have a positive mindset, okay? When you are in a webinar, you need to practice and participate. So, okay, there, we'll do that, okay? All right, so there we go. So far, notice what I've done is I have my recipient, right, Heidi Schlack. I have my subject, okay? I have my informal greeting. And then I start out with, how are you? I hope you are well. Ooh, and we're going over. I noticed that I don't have a space, okay? And then I'm telling you the purpose of why I'm writing. I'm writing to tell you some good advice about online webinars. And I have 2 pieces of advice, and that's what I want you to send me, okay? And I used modals. I used should in my first piece, and I used ought to in my second piece of advice, okay? So now I have to close my email. I hope this helps you. If you need anything else, let me know. Please let me know. All right. And then remember, this is an informal email. So take care. And then the student's name. Okay. So Akiko, that's her first name. So we don't need to put her last name because I know her, right? And it's an informal email. So we're using take care as an informal closer. And then we just put her first name. Okay. So one more time, you have the recipient, you have a short subject line about why it is you're sending an email, right? Good advice about online webinars. You have an informal greeting, a space, and you start out with this typical, how are you? I hope you're well. You write down why you are writing to Heidi, and then you give your advice, and then you say, I hope this helps you, kind of to close it off. And if you need anything else, please let me know, and take care, and putting the closer of that email signature of first name. Okay, so what I did was I reviewed everything to make sure that everything looks good. And then what I need to do is I need to send it. Okay, so that's the last thing. Last thing is click send. Okay, so now I know that it is sent. Okay, so that is the task that you have to do. All right, so I will be waiting for your email. And please remember, let's go back over here. So this email is due Tuesday by 8 o'clock. Okay, so again, you're watching the video and you are following the instructions. So you should do the same type of video. Sorry, not a video, same type of email. Okay, all right, take care, my friends. Bye-bye.